Hi everybody, I'm back live and back to work. So, let's see here. No. There we go. So, this is going to be a multi-filming thing. So, because I got to film this also for my DIY, since we're going to be doing a high quality DIY as well. So bear with the quality right now. Alright guys, I'm going to be doing my filming all at the same time doing live. So if you ask questions, I'll stop and answer your questions, okay? So, let's see here. Alright Andrew. So what we're doing is the power steering relocation. And hopefully you guys can see down here where the power steering pump is. Right here to the left of it, we're going to mount the power steering reservoir right down here. Kind of out of the way from the view up top. But we still want to give it access. So the cool thing about these Mark IV is they have a couple big holes on the left on top on the frame. And we can use that to create an access port to pull out and drain the or add power steering fluid. Not that hard. We got to make a little kind of a U-shaped bracket for it. We're going to make it out of just leftover parts that I have from my garage, from scrap metal. So the hose that you see here, this is a 5/8 power steering return line hose. This is what you need so you can get it down here. You're going to have to kind of bend it. Make sure it doesn't kink. This hose is pretty durable, so they don't really kink very much. So you kind of want it like that. So with your 5/8 hose, you're going to kind of run it this way. Now on the other side by the power steering return line that's on the rack, all I did was cut a piece off. And you'll see right here, this is what's actually on the rack itself. It sits down here. We chopped it right here. It's about an inch from that bend. That's all you want to do. No, I've never done a TDI swap. Sorry, man. So, with this, you're going to use a different size hose on this one. You'll see right here, this is the actual return. And get this off of here. There we go. And this is a 3/8. So this 3/8 hose fits actually inside of this right here. It's not as easy. We're going to have to grind it down and make it all nice and smooth. But we're not going to be using this. I'm just using this for demonstration. So you're going to get this in here, if you can. If not, we're going to have to, like I said, we have to grind it down and put some lube in there. Oh, it's not going to fit on this one. So when you're going to cram that piece of pipe in there, just like that, into the hard line that's down below, and you're going to feed this onto the side rail. Then you're going to cut according to whatever length you need. And that's pretty much it. That's your power steering relocation. Is making the bracket and doing all that is what makes it look the best. So we're going to get to that right now. So let me get some cutters, some grease. Let's get to work. This grease. So just some universal grease right here. You're going to put it over the pipe. that's back here. All this is for is so you can let that hose slide on easier, since it's not kind of like the correct size for it. So here I ended up applying some grease. We're going to get some sandpaper a little bit, and we're going to sand this off right here so the hose can actually slide on nicely. So this will be your next step, grease and sanding the tip off of this so the hose can go all the way to the back. Find my sandpaper. What in tarnations? Give me a second, guys. Gotta find some sandpaper. Alright, so I got some 500 grit sandpaper, just like that, and we're going to go around the hose and clean it. Thank you, Samuel. Happy holidays to you, sir, too. And like I was saying, give that a little smoothing out. Doesn't need very much to do it. If you can put your finger around it and it's nice and smooth, you got it. So with your 3/8 hose here, and then where we cut it, we're going to get it over here. Kind of an awkward spot, so usually what I do is I'll stretch out the front of the hose a bit more, just to give me the space I need. Kind of like that. Just so I can go over the little hump or the metal line that would stand back here. bit more grease. Yeah, it's super service position, right? No, I mean it's pretty much just the front core support. Because everything else is brand spanking new on this car, so I kind of don't want to button it up yet until I'm ready to actually turn it on. So I'm just doing all the final touches. Okay, so we're probably going to have to heat the hose up a bit. It's not letting me slide it over, so give me a second. So using a little torch, heat up the rubber. Should get you the loosey-goosiness of it. And then it should be just enough heat on there so you can slide it over. Or not. Come on. Got it on finally. Now I gotta slide it over the hose. If it'll let me. Hey, Ben. I
finally finished the vacuum.
Finished the what?
Vacuum. Put the bed together and cleaned it down for
Okay. Well, we're live.
Okay. You want something to eat?
No, I'm pretty good. Thank you.
You wanna wait?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
You want water?
Yeah. A cup of water would be nice. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to this car too, man. This hose is being a bee right now, though. Cut it and try it again to clean. Alright, sorry for taking so long. I know it's a slow process, but you gotta do it right. So with that line on, you're going to put this down below. Finally. Now you got to make sure it doesn't get in the way of your axle or anything else that's going to be down here. So one thing that I like to do, I like to mount it like right here. So this is a really good spot right here, and this is where your reservoir is going to go. So we're going to have to cut it because we're going to mount the reservoir about right here. You guys can see that. This is where this is going to go. So let's see if you guys can see that. So yeah, right down here we're going to be mounting the power steering reservoir. So now that your line is there, bend the line down and towards the left, towards the car, because you need to get it out of the way of the pulley, or the crank pulley. You're just gonna bend it about an inch, maybe 2 inches tops. It should clear your axle with no problems. And about, if you see down here, it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm about an inch away from the crank pulley, which is perfect. That's all you really need, so that you don't have to worry about rubbing. And then if you want to, I mean, you can zip tie it technically, or just leave it there. Once the bracket's here made for this guy, it'll hold the hose there. So we're kind of going to be, the goal is to have it around right here. So let me get my scissors so I can cut it. So, wherever you're going to mount this, make sure you give it some slack. So I'm going to be mounting it there. I'm going to be cutting it right here. So now with that mounted, that cut, slide your so that's where it's going to sit. You see that? So now we got to figure out power steering return line. So depending on how we mount this bracket, I'm thinking it's going to sit right there. So I'm going to need to cut that about right here. Maybe a little bit more just for just in case. I'm going to cut that sucker. Now you'll notice I don't have any clamps on anything right now, and that's mainly because I'm just using this for no clamps for making sure everything fits correctly. So if you see that, that looks pretty dang good. Now, if you don't want your hose to hang out and be out and about, see if you can snake it through here. It should be fine, just like that. So that's how your power steering is going to sit, and it's going to sit underneath here, out of the way. We're going to make the bracket mainly because it's going to keep it from vibrating like crazy. And the bracket's really simple because all you need is a piece of aluminum or metal. Go from here over 90 degrees down and back over, and that'll hold this bad boy right here. And you'll see. Awesome. And that's how you hide your power steering out of the way. So once your bumper goes on, once the bumper goes on, all you're going to see inside your bay is this piece of rubber right here, which is beautiful because not many people can see what's on right above here, so it's going to look really, really good. You know, once you have your fitment where you want it, you know, all the lines where it's going to set, this is going to look really good. So I'm going to grab my other camera and film this. So now that we got our 5/8 hose right here, you'll notice how we mounted it, ran it through the little rail right there. And then you'll see right here is where we went through and we cut off the access to where we wanted it. You'll notice the power steering is actually on here reservoir's on here pretty nice. The 3/8 hose is right here, right behind it. We're going to have to cut a little bit into the fender liner here so we can get that hose off the crank pulley, because you'll see it's touching the crank pulley right there. So we got to make sure that doesn't happen. We don't want to cut the hose immediately. But once that's done, you'll see right there, hose is back on where it's supposed to be, on the metal return line. Not looking good. But that's pretty much your power steering relocation setup. All you gotta do is put your clamps down, make your bracket, and I'm going to show you the bracket in a little bit. Really, really easy to make, and you know, get it done. So there's that. Now, before we get to the bracket portion, we're going to be doing the coolant ball delete next. So that's what you guys wanted, was coolant ball delete. So that one's super easy. I'll show you guys that in a minute. Okay, so for your coolant ball delete, last night you guys should have got my info that I told you guys about the radiator hoses you're going to need. So one thing I didn't mention, and you'll see right here, when you guys move over, right here, remember what I was talking about? We're going to have to cut these, which is correct, and what we're going to do is flip them. Because the smallest filler neck hose that you can get aluminum is 1 1/4. The diameter of this hose is 1 inch, but the ends are 1 1/4. So it's really, really easy. You cut the middle, mount it, flip them and mount them. They slide on pretty nicely on this end. The ends are actually 1 1/4. So what we're going to end up doing is shortening the side that we cut off to compensate for the width of the new pretty much new piece that we have. So we're going to unclamp these, and then we're going to cut, and then we're going to do it correctly. But before you do that, remember I have old hoses that we want to use the mock up with first. That way we know we're doing it correctly, and that way it looks right. I always recommend, if you have old stuff at home that you're going to throw away, use that to do your mock up. And then when you're ready, cut your real hose and do it, because you get one time. These hoses are not cheap, so that's how we're going to do that, okay? This is the other part that you guys needed for yesterday. The part number is 02253. They're called bypass cap assortments. They give you the caps you need to cap off your hoses. And there's only 2 you need to cap off, 2 of them. The one that sits right here on the hard line, right here. It's hard to tell where my finger's at, but it's right next to the thermostat housing. That's one of them. And then the second one is actually on the coolant hose right here. And it's the little nipple that's on top right up here. The one that always cracks in everybody's cars. So now that we're going to mock this up, like I was telling you last time, we're going to be using the what is this? Hold on. I'm lost here. Give me a second. Okay. So here's your coolant flange. And then we're not going to worry about that one. We need to worry about from here to here. So here's that piece right here. Now you'll notice I already have it cut, and it fits actually over, and this is the smaller side, and you'll notice the angle is about the same. So now that you have that all done, you're going to put your other end into this. Oh, come on. Well, just like that, but this is upside down. So it's stuck, so I'll get it out right now. So you'll notice there's a lot more hose left over. So when you're going to use your other one, your other half of the hose, remember you got to use the side that was actually on the joining part. So you're going to use that to kind of do it like that, and then you're going to cut according to whatever length you need, and then mount it back, and then that's pretty much your coolant delete, coolant ball delete. The parts are what you need to know. Oh, that fits there nicely. So the part numbers, which I gave you guys already yesterday, so hopefully you guys can remember that on the other video. Those were pretty easy. Once you have that, you'll see that this has a little breather nipple or release nipple. You need to get another piece of a coolant hose and run that down and out of the way with the a universal coolant reservoir. It has to sit lower than the radiator hose so it can actually capture the coolant. If not, gravity will push back and not let it drain. Okay? So, now for the electrical portion of this DIY, if you come over here, there's only one thing you need to worry about. So you'll see your harness. This is your harness over here on this side. You have a bunch of sensors here. These sensors are mainly for your wiper motor and the wiper level, and then turn signal and your smog stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that since you guys are going to be doing a smog delete. Right here, see this one right here? That's kind of a large one. It's the largest one out of all the ones on the harness besides the what they call the headlight harness, and that one sits the furthest back as well. This one, you need to grab a paper clip and literally just go from one side to the other and then wrap it in electrical tape. That will tell your ECU that your coolant level is at the correct height at all times. It'll never say there's low coolant. Now there's a problem with that. How do you know you don't have any coolant in your system? Well, you have this old school technology called a thermostat and a temperature gauge. If your temperature goes up, you have low coolant. But you can also, like I said, every morning, I say once every other week, just open up your hood and check the coolant, your radiator cap on the side that we just deleted. We just added, and then check for a level. If there's no coolant in there, just add some. In about a month or two, your coolant reservoir that you put it down below is going to be full of coolant. You can use that to reload your coolant back into the system. You're never going to run out. It's just there's no way for coolant to go back into the system when it gets hot. So you're going to run low. It's not that bad. It's just a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of work every other week, so you can have the stance life, bruh. All right, so you're going to need the paper clip here. Wrap it with electrical tape and get it nice and tight and out of the way. There's nothing else you need to worry about the loom. Remember to do right here. That's the block for that one, and then you need to block this one as well, right up here. Once you block those two, you're done. You're going to cut this, flip them around, and then use the bigger ends to use your filler neck here. And remember to cut and then adjust accordingly on this side, not the side that's not cut. The reason why, because this side is only so large and this is smaller, so you're going to have a problem if it doesn't go in correctly, okay? Now, for your intercooler, it's going to be a kind of a hard thing because intercoolers are kind of a universal setup. It's not going to be like, hey, this is going to fit perfect. And Godspeed makes a good one. Amazon there's a bunch of universal cheapy kits online. So it's up to you guys on what you guys are going to get for a radiator. For an intercooler setup. I'm doing full-on custom, so because I want the power and I want to be able to run cooler on there. So let's see here. So we get my vice grips. Remember, we're taking off the ends because those are what's going to allow us to do this nicely. So wherever you're going to put it, you're going to cut it down the middle, and then you're going to cut accordingly to make everything fit. Water-cooled intercoolers are super cool because you can put a very, very, very small intercooler and have the efficiency of a very large one. The only downside is you have another location for leaky coolant. Doing a lot of research, they are awesome, but I was going to go that route actually, but they're not meant for like very, very high horsepower setups actually, which is kind of odd because you would think antifreeze, get them nice and cool, but I guess it's not for very large, for more like if you want to keep everything compact and small. I could be wrong, but like I said, I was doing my research and didn't find what I wanted, you know, an answer I wanted. So I didn't go that route. So now that I cut my hose, now it's going to be a tighter fit than normal, and that's okay. You'll see here, now we're going to flip it this way. And then you have your other attachment over here. Now this is a mock-up. I still got to adjust everything accordingly, but that's what it's supposed to look like. You might have to cut things a little bit shorter to adjust it, but that's what you're trying to do right here. You see that? It's pretty cool. That's pretty much what you need to do a coolant delete kit. Now you'll notice these fit really, really nicely on here. So there's no need to move these anymore. Now what's going to happen though, you're out 2 clamps. I don't know if you guys noticed that yet, but now you're missing 2 clamps on this. There's one. Awesome dating site. You're a piece of shit. Get off of here. No one cares about dating. We care about cars. I hate these spammers. They're horrible. What's going on, 530 Mexican? Ah. There we go. Alright, so now that's all taken care of. Now we have to cut accordingly. Remember? So now, what we have to do is put the radiator and everything back on so we can readjust everything where it's supposed to go. So let's get that radiator. Sorry about that big old my booty in the way, but that's how we're gonna do it. There you go. So now that you have that all there, so now we have to cut and adjust until it's set where we need it to set, because you'll see here it's kind of a crappy spot to have it. So we need to cut this line about, let's say, an inch. Okay, so turn that line around so I can get some extra space. So you can actually put your radiator angle right here, mount it onto the actual radiator. That way you know where to actually start adjusting here. So seeing this, it looks like I'm gonna have to cut a pretty decent amount of radiator hose here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm going to try to help you guys. It's kind of hard, I know. Okay, there you go. Awesome. So you'll see here, I'm going to add this. So what I need to do is I need to cut right here. See that where my finger's at? I gotta cut it off right here to this line where it starts curving, because that's just about what I need. So with that now be cut, and grab a little bit of that grease again. And all we're going to do is grease up the plastic here just a little bit so we can get it to slide nicely around the radiator hose. Not a lot, just like I said, just like a film. Because what you want it to do is so you can slide it around, so you can get it all the way to the end. You see that? That's how we're going to modify the crap out of this hose. Now with that being already modified, put that back in there, and then now you're going to have to adjust accordingly over here to see how much you need to cut. And you'll see here, you'll see how much of a bend this is at, and it's kinking pretty decent here. So that means we'll probably cut back about another inch, around right there. And repeat the process. A little bit of grease goes a long way. Just like that. A little bit on the inside. And now you notice I haven't put any clamps on here because I got to make sure everything goes on the way I want it to. You see there, there we go. Done. There you guys can see that now. So you'll see the hose right here is a little on the kink side. So what we're going to have to do is turn it one more time the other way, which shouldn't change the angle very much of the other hose. And then there you go. That looks freaking legit. So, cut the hose, flip them around on the opposite direction. That way you can reinstall them, because the other side's already much more stretched. So they fit over the 1 1/4 filler neck here from Moroso. You're going to need a 1921 PSI radiator cap for this DIY. Now, with that all said and done, you'll see you still have this little nozzle. Like I was saying before, try to find your universal radiator coolant, a universal coolant reservoir. You can buy them for $10-15 at AutoZone, O'Reilly's, and all that. They're super cheap just because they're universal, and you can mount it right down here underneath. That's it. I mean, we just showed you how to do power steering or reservoir relocation. Just showed you how to do a coolant ball delete. The intercooler, I thought I was going to be able to give you guys a DIY on that. It's super noisy. I ended up just doing it by myself just because it just didn't work out the way I wanted to. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that, but it came out pretty cool. I'm going to pull this back out so you guys can see it. But yeah, this is pretty much the whole entire DIY, the whole entire build. We're going to show you how to mount the this thing, oil catch can, later. But that's all like just last minute preparations. There's nothing left for this car. I'm going to finally just button everything back up and then clamp everything down, and should be ready to go. Next week will be the week that we'll be turning this on. It's going to the exhaust shop this week later. We're going to go tow it and get the exhaust finally done. We're going to get the intercooler welded in, intercooler piping welded in. We'll give you guys a cool tour around RPM, Richard's Performance Muffler in Oceanside. Trying to think what else is there you guys need to know. I mean, that's pretty much it. We got a couple of little vacuum lines that we got to make and stuff, like the brake booster one, which isn't crazy, the fuel and all that. But next time you see us, it's going to be turning this car on. So again, thanks for watching PincheAls Garage. I'm PincheAl, and this is Filbert. And thank you for having this amazing journey with me, guys. It's been a lot of fun, and I've been very, very happy and grateful with you guys. Post a comment. Remember, share, share, share. I'm going to be finishing up the filming with the high-end camera, well, higher quality camera, so you guys can see how to do the rest of this, okay, correctly. Alright, thanks a lot, guys. Peace out.